Okay, so this is a little tutorial on our holds and grabs. Myself and Daniel are going to go through them, so this will help you practice at home. Okay, first one we're going to go through is the front choke. So when the attack comes on, I'm stepping back with my right side as my right hand is up high, clearing the arms off me with an opposite range of motion. So I've got my right hand coming down, my left hand coming up, and then immediately taking control with the left hand. I'm going to palm strike, follow up elbow strike, chop, and then finish with a knee strike. So one more look at that. The choke comes on, stepping back, clearing, palm, elbow chop, and knee strike, always returning to a good guard afterwards. Okay, so that's the front choke. Now the back choke, if I were to turn the other way, as the back choke comes on, I'm going to take my left side, arm, and left leg, and they're both going to be in motion. So I'm crossing my left leg behind the right, arm comes up and around the arms, following up with an elbow strike. This could also be a palm or a palm into an elbow, but the elbow works so well just because you're so close. So one more look at that. I'm going to step, wrap the arms, elbow strike. Now I could follow up with another knee strike, and then again back out, just as we did before. So that's the back choke. As we go on, let's talk about the two from the wrists. So we've got a straight on wrist grab, which is where he's grabbing in a straight line, or the crossover wrist grab, where he crosses over to get the grab. So let's go back to the straight on. We're going to counter grab thumb on top. So I'm using my other hand to counter grab his arm, and when I step, I'm going to step outside the foot, bringing my elbow up underneath his elbow. This is going to make it to where it starts to hyperextend. Especially if I push up with the elbow and down with the arm at the same time, he's going to go up on his toes. Working a quick strike to the groin, then moving the arm out of the way, back fist strike, and then I'm out. So here's a common mistake. People get to here, and then they try to go up high first, and then they have to move the arm again to go back low. So since you're already low, strike high, and then back out. That's a straight on wrist grab. When it's a crossover wrist grab, what we're going to do is, using the strength of our other arm, help to counter grab the wrist, and also taking a step to get the leverage to push him over. Now if you notice, I'm going to get on the other side. If you notice, when I counter grab and I step in front of him, this gives me that leverage. I'm using the bony part of my wrist on his tricep, pressing him over, working an elbow and an elbow. So that was straight on and crossover wrist grab. Now we'll go into the ones again from behind. We have an arms pinned bear hug. So his arms are around me, he's got me in a tight grip. I can still get my hands together, and as I do, I'm going to make sure my feet are kind of close together, trying to bring my hips forward, and then all at once when I push my hips back, I'm going to push my arms forward. This motion here breaks the hold, but then I immediately have to do some elbows, otherwise that hold could turn into a choke. And if you notice how I followed up there, elbows into a back kick. So one more look. I'm going to break the hold, boom, quickly separate the legs with some elbows, back kick, and then I'm at a safe distance. So that's arms pinned bear hug. Now the arms free version, of course, he's got me in the bear hug, but my arms are free. Now what I want to do is I want to straddle one of his legs. So I'm going to step one way or the other. In this particular scenario, stepping left puts his leg right between my legs. As I drop down, I'm going to hook his ankle, his heel, while I have one hand still on the ground. This is important. If I start reaching with both hands and he pushes forward, I'm going to just fall on my face. So I brace with one hand and hook the heel. Now when I back up into him, he's going to fall. So in class, he's prepared to do a break fall. As I start to push him over, boom, he falls. I get into position where I'm going to sit on his knee as I lift. That's going to hyperextend. Then I stand up, look over, boom, kicking back towards his head. And that's arms pinned bear hug. So we have two more. One of them is called a full Nelson. That's from the back as well. He's coming under my arms and hooking behind my head. Typically they're pressing down on the head, so we need to bring the head back up. As I lift, I apply pressure onto his fingers, and then I drop with all my weight, dropping into the horse stance. I'm going to reach for his right hand, try to get my fingers, my thumbs rather, on the back of his hand. Fingers on the palm. Taking 2 steps, 1, 2, and I start to put pressure on the wrist. I'm going to kick with what we call an uprising kick. Now notice how I kick way over here for a safe type of a practice in class. In reality, of course, you're coming right up under the face, but in class, you should kick hard right next to them. And that's the full Nelson. Now the final one we're going to work on, if he's to my side and he's put me in a side headlock. When he does that, 2 things might happen. He might be trying to punch me, or he might be trying to connect his hands. In either event, I don't want either of those things to happen. So I'm immediately going to take what we call seatbelt. That's my left hand coming around his waist. I'm going to try to get the best posture I can immediately. And I'm going to prevent this hand from connecting or punching by just getting it in over here. Once I can control it and get it to the side, I can hang on to it with my left hand. Now I grab his wrist and I step back and I kind of stretch to get a good clear passage to then slip behind him. Let's turn so you can see what's happening here. I was just here, I had stepped and stretched, and then I'm going to step behind him, pulling this arm with me. Common mistake I'll see people do is when they're here and they've stretched, they lift the arm. And as soon as they lift the arm, he pulls his arm out of there, boom, now I have to deal with maybe getting an elbow. So instead of lifting his arm, I keep it down, I'm pulling it down, and I bring it with me. Now I press it here. In class, this is about as high as we go, right here to his waist. In reality, I'm going to raise it way up here and try to just tear the muscles in his shoulder. So from here, being that he's a little taller than me, I'm going to buckle him in the knee. See how that brings him down to my level? I get the left arm in underneath the neck for the choke. Grab my own bicep, hands to the head, and then I start to tighten up until he taps, and he tapped me on the leg. You might not have seen that, but he let me know that it was enough. And that's called the side headlock. So those are the different moves right now. We covered 8 of them: front choke, back choke. We had the straight on and crossover wrist grab. We had the arms pinned and arms free bear hug. And then we had the full Nelson and the side headlock. Those are all 8 of the grabs that you should be working on right now. So thank you to Daniel for being my Uki, and hope this helps you practice at home. You can rewind it, play it several times, and get much better at these, more confident. Okay, oos!